Hey, welcome to Dudes Can Cook. I put this channel together to hopefully teach you guys how to cook that don't know how to cook. It's pretty basic, real simple. You're not going to be a chef when you're done, but you're going to cook a great meal for your friends, your family, and maybe you will become a chef after this. You'll want to go further into it and dive deeper into it. But I guarantee you, if you watch this show and you follow some of my recipes, if nothing else comes out of it, you're going to be proud of what comes out of what you did when you cooked. Alright, so if you enjoy what you see, please leave some good comments there, subscribe to my channel, and recommend me to other people. That'd be great, and hopefully you get something great out of it. Alright. Hey guys, welcome back. So, guess what we're doing today? We're going to do beef stroganoff. And right now I've got the first ingredients that I've got to chop up and get ready for prep on this. You can use sirloin. Today I was able to get a good price on some filet, so I'm using filet. You're going to want 1/2 of a medium-sized onion, about 1/2 pound of brown mushrooms or white mushrooms, 1 large clove, or in my case 2 medium-sized cloves of garlic, and then at the end we're going to throw in some green onions. So I'm going to chop this all up and then we'll go from there. This was actually a request from my friend Christina, so I do take requests if you want to put a suggestion in the comments below, and then I can make a shout out to you or remain anonymous, whatever. But I hope you enjoy this. We'll come back after I've got all this cut up and we'll show you what our next step's going to be. Okay guys, first we're going to start off with about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a pan. Get that nice and hot, and we're going to brown our meat, and that's all we want to do is brown it, and do it in small batches so you don't cool down the pan too much. So I'm just going to get that in there going. Minute, maybe a little less than a minute per side. Really depends on how thick you slice the meat. Kind of want it, fairly thin. About what that is right there. And if you're going to season it, this is a good time to season it. A little salt. And I'm not going to bore you with this process, so we'll say the next process once I'm done getting all this meat brown. I'll be right back. Okay, now we got all of our meat out, so now we're going to add 2 tablespoons of butter in there. Get that all melted up. And then we're going to add our mushrooms and our onions. And you're going to saute the mushroom and onions until pretty much all the liquid in the pan is gone. Put the butter in there. Get the onions in there. And I'll get my mushrooms in there. Get them moved around, nice and coated. And the meat you just set aside. So you just browned it, you set it aside, covered so it stays warm. So it's warm when you add it back in, because we're going to add it back in a little while. So I'm going to show you when that is in a minute. I'm going to let this cook down first. Okay, so I've got most of the moisture cooked down, as you can see. I don't know if I said earlier, but you want about 1/2 pound of thick cut brown mushrooms. I was able to buy some that were already cut, that were nice and thick. Anyway, I got them all down, so now I'm going to add my garlic. And I only want to cook this in there for about a minute, or else it'll burn. So minute, or else so it gets nice and fragrant. Don't cook it for too long. I can already smell it. It smells wonderful. And then next we're going to add a teaspoon of flour. And we'll come back and I'll show you that. Okay, so now I'm going to add some flour in here. Basically what we're doing is we're making a roux for the sauce. I'm going to get that flour spread out there nicely. And I'm going to mix that in really well. I'm just going to get the rest of that moisture up and get everything else that's left stuck on the bottom of the pan up. And then you'll see what we're going to do next in just a second. Alright guys, another thing you need to remember to do, exercise. Make sure you exercise. Because I literally got to the point where I was right about to put the flour in here to make the roux and realized I had no beef stock. I always keep extra stock in the house and I was out. So I made a mad sprint over to the store right now to get some beef stock. So I could get back here before anything burned. I did take the pan off the burn, but you know, it's still cooking, so I didn't want anything to burn. So basically, mad sprint over there to get back. So right there, we just added a cup of beef stock. I added a cup and a quarter. I'm making a little bit bigger batch than I normally do, but a cup of beef stock, cup of beef stock is what you generally would do for this recipe. And then after you get that cup of beef stock in, then you're going to add your heavy cream. And we're going to do 3/4 of a cup. But like I said, my batch is going to be a little bit bigger for what I'm doing today, so I'm doing a full cup. But generally, 3/4 of a cup for this. So, I add my cream in next. Alright, got all my cream in. I'm going to get that nice and blended in there nicely. I'm going to let that heat up, and then what I'm going to do next is I've got 1/4 cup of sour cream. I'm going to throw that right into this deal that I just did, because what you want to do so that you don't curdle it is get some of the liquid out of here. A few tablespoons of this liquid. Don't need the mushrooms. And then you're just going to stir it up in here. And then that's going to keep it from curdling when you add it to your mix. Keep that going. There, I got that all incorporated. Now I can add it to this and I don't got to worry about it curdling. So that's the next step. I'm going to add my sour cream. Get that incorporated in. And then also you're going to need 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. We're just going to do that right over the top here. And then, I'm sorry, that was 1 tablespoon. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And then you can kind of salt to taste after that. And then you're also going to add 1/2 teaspoon Dijon mustard. And then we're just going to let that cook and simmer for a while. Bring it up to a simmer. Once we bring it up to a simmer, we'll add the meat back in. Heat the meat back up. Next, we're going to be doing our noodles. So that's pretty simple, but I'll show you what we're doing with that. I'll be right back. Okay, I've got my water on for my egg noodles now. If you haven't cooked pasta before, it's just basically boiling the noodles. But this is also the only time you're going to be able to season it. So what you want to do is get a good amount of salt in that water, so that you can get that those noodles seasoned properly. Just give it a good stir that salt in. Of course, once it starts boiling, it's going to do that on its own. And once that comes up to a boil, we'll add our noodles to that. Okay, noodles are done. I drained them, and then I added some butter to them. And then, after that, we just plate it up. So here's our final product. Look at that. Beef stroganoff from scratch. Y'all can do this. You got it. Keep following me. Make suggestions. Don't be mean. And subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time on Dudes Can Cook.